Okay, hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. I'm May, and this is going to be my Magical Readathon Autumn Semester TBR video. This is my third semester participating in Magical Readathon. I tried it last year to see if I liked it, get my feet wet. I ended up really liking it, so then I participated again in the spring semester, and now I'm participating in this semester, and I just love how G keeps adding really cool things to it. It's a really fun readathon. So this is going to be my video of going over what prompts I have to do, and I've also taken the time to actually make a character sheet this year, so give you like the background, what she looks like, all that good stuff. So it's even more interactive for me this year. I've always used the same name, which is Maeve Blackwell, which is like kind of based off of my real name. I go by May. I wanted her to have a very similar name to me, but like in a fantasy setting. So she goes by Maeve Blackwell. She's really, really cool. I've used that for everything. Baldur's Gate, other fantasy games, other fantasy readathons. I've always used that name, but now I actually have an image of her and what she's like. So I'm going to show what she looks like right now. This is Maeve. She's really cool, isn't she? She is what I like to call a sexy library protector, but she's also just really, really cool and really, really smart. And I'm going to go over like the background of like where she's from, her individual backstory, the backstory of her calling, all of that good stuff. So bear with me for a second while I go into all of this. And I'll also leave the picture of her up for now. But Maeve is a 21 Elithrian, which are residing in the great underworld library of Dark Meadow. She was born during a blood moon. They are in the guild of the archivist, and they are studying the star calling, and it all connects in their backstory, which you're gonna see in just a second. But they're very, very cool. Illythrians, which I think is how it's pronounced, are known for their fangs, their pale skin, and their glowing red eyes. I thought they were vampires until I read that they actually are repulsed by flesh and won't eat flesh unless absolutely unavoidable. So they're like vegans, so not a vampire, but they're also very secretive. They're trained very young to be able to fight, and they're also supposed to be like witty and body of mind, not having very much human interactions outside of the people in the library. So they're finding going to the academy to be very jarring and off-putting because they're not used to that way of life. So they have to take some time to adjust. And they have the powers of shapeshifting, conjuration, and illusions. So she's really fucking cool. She's really badass. I love her. And she has the ability to turn into a crow, but she also has a familiar crow, which I will get into in that. But so she has both. She can turn into a crow herself, but she can also cast a temporary crow in certain moments to help her gather information. So I'm gonna read about her legacy because it's just the easiest way to let information. But as you can see in the picture, she has a sword that is her conduit of her magic, and it was given to her by her mother from a very young age. So their guild is the ability to make a pact with a god, and Maeve has picked Ashria, the goddess of dawn and new beginnings. Their patrons find their abilities in restoration and inscription are strengthened. Their powers are tripled in early hours when they're also gain the ability to conjure a temporary familiar. That's why she's able to have a temporary familiar as well as being able to turn into a crow herself. And then her calling is a star whisperer. She essentially can speak to the cosmos and use that to get advice, insight, and critique from above. You can use that to like read people's charts for introspection, but they can also like speculate on upcoming events. They can compare snippets of their own readings and convey. They can like read things and convey it to important people. They are known to be dreamy, imaginative, and attentive. To be successful in this field, they require precision, unbiased reporting, knowledge of current events, and knowledge of people. The biggest hurdle is misinterpretation, but while initially filled with skepticism and misjudged, with each correct prediction, insightful chart, or important elevation, the reputation of a Star Whisperer grows. So she is currently an apprentice of the Star Whisperer calling. And now onto like the actual backstory that will connect all of this and why I picked the guild, the calling, all of that for Maeve specifically. So I'm gonna take a picture off while I do the story. But Maeve was born on a blood moon, and it was done on purpose. Her father wanted to pretty much siphon her blood magic, but it backfired on him, and it pretty much consumed him. Like, the blood magic seeped out of Maeve's eyes. That's why she has the markings on her face. And it was like the blood magic was coming out of her eyes, so like that's why she has the red marks, because it's like the scarring of the blood magic pretty much coming out of her. So the blood magic pretty much consumes their father and kills them. And it brings a lot of shame to their family because blood magic is practiced, but it's kind of frowned upon in a lot of areas. So Maeve and her mother go to the Great Underworld Library, and Maeve becomes like a protector of the library and the knowledge inside it while also reading the knowledge. So she has like a two-part job of like, she reads what's in there, but she also makes sure that nothing happens to the knowledge. She's very protective, making sure that no outsiders come in, no one harmful's coming in, because knowledge can be bad in the wrong hands. Maeve wants to prevent that from happening. Maeve's mother trains them very young, and that's why she's given the sword. She's also allowed to shift into a crow, but she also has other shape-shifting abilities. She can cast illusions. She's going to the academy to study star whispering because she wants to be able to overcome the shadow that her father left on their life. So she wants to learn the ways of like restorative magic, celestial insight. She wants to use her magic for good, pretty much. And she's hoping with this pact with the Ashura god and her knowledge at the academy, she's able to one day pretty much just make that shadow go away and be her own person and bring good light and fortune and reputation back to her family. Maeve is really, really, really cool. And the way that I've tied this to the Maeves and other Readathons, other fantasy games, is that since Maeve has the ability to shapeshift, that Maeve is actually all those people in one. Maeve, that was always Maeve. Maeve in Baldur's Gate, that's Maeve right now. Since Maeve is actually able to shapeshift, she's been all those people for different reasons. And maybe she was in those scenarios to gain knowledge. So she was Maeve in Baldur's Gate to get knowledge about that area of life. And in my head, they all exist. Like, they're all the same person, and Maeve has just been going universe to universe, collecting knowledge to bring back to her universe and using the celestial insight to strengthen her powers of shapeshifting and conjuration and illusions to fit into those realms and not be suspicious. So it's always been Maeve. Maeve has always been those people. So even though Maeve exists in the Magical Readathon universe, she's also been the same Maeve that was in Baldur's Gate or the other Readathons that I've done. She's just used her shapeshifting abilities to be all of those people. And she's been using it for the greater good, to get knowledge and bring back. What she uses it for that knowledge, I don't know yet, because her story is still unfolding. And I might write a book about her one day. But I hope that you guys think that Maeve is as cool as I do. I've worked really hard on her backstory and making sure that it all connect. So that's why she has those callings, because she's very into knowledge. That's why she's an early 3N. That's why she goes to the library, the Underworld Library. So that's why she has to pact with the god Ashura of New Beginnings, because she wants to use that knowledge to overcome her father's shadows. That's why she's a Star Whisperer to the same way. Like, it all connects. Like, there's a reason why she does these things, and it's for the greater good and also to be a better person than her father was. And she doesn't use her blood magic that she got from the Blood Moon because she doesn't want to get frowned upon or use it to hurt people. So she's really cool. And the reason why she has the familiar and also be able to turn into a crow is because sometimes she needs the crow to get into secretive places to be able to get the knowledge that she's seeking. So she's really fucking cool. She's really cool. And this will not be the last time that you see about Maeve or hear about Maeve. I'm sure I'll write something about her, but she's very, very cool to me. I hope you think that she's cool. Okay, now on to my actual TBR for the month. I had quite a bit of difficulty picking books for these prompts. I thought the prompts were a lot difficult than previous semesters. I don't know why, but it took me several hours to actually sit down and find prompts that match the books. And some of them I had to get help from friends because I just literally couldn't get them by myself. I don't know what the heck was happening because I'm trying to do books that are already on my TBR that I already know about, whether that's physical or digital, whatever. I still needed to know about the book. It just couldn't be like a book I had never heard of. So some of them were really, really tricky, so I had to like ask some friends for some recommendations and stuff like that, and I did take them. And like I was just talking about with my character, I'm a Star Whisperer, and for this semester I have to read a total of 8 books. I could read the guidebook, but I'm choosing not to because it is Babel, and I don't want to read Babel, or Babel, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. That's like a dark academia book, or just like an academia book, and that is not my vibe at all. I actually just don't have any interest in reading it whatsoever, and it's huge. I tried to get books under 450 pages because I have a really busy month coming up with work and other things unfolding, So I didn't pick anything really, really long, and it is almost 600 pages. So that's definitely too long for me to read. So I'm just gonna not read it, and I'll just like not get the 10 points. The points don't really matter that much to me, honestly. Like, I could have used some points to switch some prompts out, but I was going to if I couldn't figure them out. But I did end up figuring out all the prompts that I originally had to. I didn't have to switch anything out, thankfully. But the points I like keep note of so that if I do need to switch anything out, I have the ability to. But like I don't really think about them too hard or like regret if I don't get more points. So I'm gonna be reading a total of 15 books, 8 books for Magical Readathon, and the rest of them are actually all new releases because I have a ton. This is like the most new releases in 1 month is happening in September. I I don't even have like the chance to really read much else because Magical Readathon took half the TBR and new releases took the other half, and I'm just left with like nothing else is really getting added because of that. I am gonna try to get to 2 other books that I couldn't get in August because I was too busy, but those will just be like added to where I can get them. If they don't happen in September, I'll try in October. I'll eventually finish them before the end of the year, hopefully. So I'm gonna go over the prompts and the classes and what books that I have picked for each one, and then we'll vibe out together and it'll be fun. So my first fall class of the autumn semester is the Art of Illusion. Just had to do the ordinary class, so that was book with autumn setting, and I'm gonna be reading Curses and Cold Brew by Ellie K. Munford, and this is a really cute like Halloweeny type books. Like they're set in October. It's actually the second book in the series, but it looks so cute. I really enjoyed the first one. The first one's called Pumpkin Spice and Poltergeist. It's like they're both cozy sapphic paranormal romances. I really recommend them. So Curses and Cold Brew is about a demon who has souls start to go missing, and she asks the like local apothecary owner to help them figure out what is going on, and I'm assuming they're gonna fall in love. Which I'm really excited about. I love a good cozy sapphic romance, and it's not very long, only 216 pages, so it'll be a really fast and quick read. And it does come out in time. Even though it's set in October, it does come out in time. So that's just gonna be fun. Like, I think the apothecary owner is also a witch. So we have like a witch with a demon romance. So it should be a good time. And then for astronomy, I had to do each qualification. So I had to do the O, the D, the O, the Q, and the D. For O, it's character with invisible illness. And I'm actually gonna be reading Can't Spell Treason Without T. It's very cute. It's by Rebecca Thorne. I've showed this off a couple of times. But this is a cozy fantasy that's like steeped with love. It's like they open up a bookshop together to serve tea. And I think that there were like assassins involved. Like I think they get taken by assassins. So the back of the book says, well, I just explained all of that. Like they get taken by the assassin, but it says, what follows is a cozy tale of mishaps, mysteries, and a murderous queen throwing the realm's biggest temper tantrum while these two women decide just what they mean to each other and the world. So it's going to be really cozy. And it's one of the books that I have to annotate in September. Like, it's one of the 3 a month I have to do. The Q prompt was genre you don't read often, so I did sci-fi, because sci-fi is, like, my least read genre. And I picked Bonds of Brass, which is another book that I have to read physically and annotate by it in this month. And this is, I believe, someone's best friend that they've known their whole life secretly ends up being like the heir of a galactic empire, and they're like secretly in love with him, I think, and they have to like figure out who their friend really is and what that means for them. And they have to deliver them to their throne. Finds himself torn in half by an impossible choice. Does he save the man who's won his heart and trust, or does he throw his lot in with the Broom Rebellion and fight to take back what's rightfully theirs? So it seems kind of like a young pilot risks everything to save his best friend, the man he trusts most, and might even love, only to learn that his friend is secretly the heir to a brutal galactic empire. So kind of giving Star Wars vibes a little bit, but like not Star Wars vibes. So it should be fun. It's also in a trilogy, but I'll add it, like, after I read the first book, I'll just add the other ones if I like them to my 2026 series tracker. So I have to see if I even like the first one, you know? and that will be the second book that I have to annotate. The Q book that I had to read for astronomy is under 250 pages. I had a lot that I could pick for this. I just ended up picking this one because it's like the end of a series, so I was like a 2-for-1. I can wrap up the series and fit this prompt. So I did The Prince of Frost, and this is the second book in the Vicious Fae series. This is a dark Jack Frost meets Hades and Professor vibes. It's like enemies to lovers, centering two Fae men and the mortal woman. The tagline for it is, those who wanted Nesta to end up with Azrael. I don't know how I feel about that statement, actually. I really like the book, but I didn't realize that it said that. That's interesting. I've never once thought about Nesta not being with Cassian because they fit so well together, in my opinion. But the books are standalone, so you don't have to read both of them. But I think you get like background information about what's happening in the second one and the first one. But the second one, I think they're going to give you enough to know what's going on without having to read the first one. They're also 120 pages long. So it's not like you're going to be too long reading this kind of book. So I think it will be fun. And then for my lore class, I only have to read the one book, and it's the translated book. This is one of the prompts that I spent so long thinking about. I was like, do I even know any translated books that I would be interested in reading? Because I don't really read those kinds of books. I hate litfic. I ended up picking I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. It's been read and enjoyed by a lot of my friends, and it's also on a lot of my friends' TBRs to read, and I'm really interested in this. But essentially, it's like deep underground, 39 women are kept in isolation in a cage. Above ground, a world awaits. Has it been abandoned, devastated by a virus? It says, discover the haunting, heartbreaking, post-apocalyptic tale of female friendship, intimacy set in a deserted world. Dang. I heard that it's made a lot of people sob, and it's only 200 pages, and it came out in like 1995, so it is like a book that's been around. This book is literally older than I am. Like, I wasn't even born yet in 1995. But I think it like is very widely loved. Like, I'm looking on Storygraph, and like 19 of my friends have given it at least a 4.75. Like, it is very widely appreciated, adored. I don't even know if I could say adored, because I think with the setting it might just be like something that hit them emotionally and made them really sob and think about. I know someone in Allie's community named Chelsea was telling us about this book during one of our Tiny Terror discussions, and they were like, yeah, this book literally emotionally rocked me. And that's what I picked. So hopefully I don't get too traumatized. Divination is a genre spin, and I actually took a clip of this already, and I'll insert it. I was working on it when I was doing the TBR without thinking about the fact that I have to put it in the video now. So I will just show you that clip right now of my genre spin when I end up picking for that. Okay, I am here to do my genre wheel spin for the last prompt that I have to work on for Magical Readathon. I made this genre wheel. I got it off of Google. I have like the main genres, like like the main ones that we know of, like romance, fantasy, those kind of things, and we're gonna spin it and see what we get. And then I'm gonna pick a book off this pile on my floor. So we'll see what we get. Thriller. Okay. Okay, I actually already know what I'm gonna read. I already know. We're gonna read. Sorry, I was grabbing it. I'm reading Everyone Who Can Forgive Me Is Dead. I was secretly hoping that I got thriller, so this would fit, because I needed to have 3 books that I read physically, and I have 2 already for this video, for this TBR, and I was like, I need to get one that I could read also physically, and I was really hoping it was going to be this one. This one's short, seems like it's going to be fun. So the only 2 prompts I have left for Magical Readathon are the last 2 prompts for Divination class. Book to movie TV adaptation, which I end up picking Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, which is the 4th book in the Bridgerton series. I read the other books already and really enjoyed them, and I watched the show and loved it, and I have watched the Penelope and Colin season, this is their book. But this is their story, and I have been very interested in this because I've heard that the book is way better than the TV show when it comes to this season specifically. So I have been meaning to continue the series. I kind of pick it up whenever I'm wanting something easy to read. And then the last prompt, which I think quite a bit about, was a book that fits the theme of your recent dream. I knew what book I wanted to be for this prompt. I needed to figure out how to make this prompt fit the book. I want to read Dungeon Crawl Carl, book number 1. Been itching to read this for quite some time. All of my friends have been reading it and loving it and raving about it, and I'm ready to jump on the train. I had to figure out how to get this to fit my dream because I've been having really weird dreams about like getting canceled for stupid reasons. And I was like talking to my friend Allie. I was like, "Can you give me some like things that I could possibly have dreamed about that would fit Dungeon Crawl Carl?" And she was like, "Have you thought about D&D or boobs or cats or donuts?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I dream about myself and I have boobs, so technically I've dreamed about boobs." And she's like, "Okay, that's perfect. You can read Dungeon Crawl Carl." And I was laughing about that because I was like, that's such a stupid reason to justify this prompt. But then that night, I ended up dreaming about being at a bar with my friend Allie and Tyler, and they both absolutely loved that book. So then I was like, okay, now I'm just justified because they love that book. So that fits, since they love the book, it fits my recent dream. So it's justified even more. So I'll be reading Dungeon Crawl Carl, essentially like one night when he goes out with his girlfriend's cat. The end of the world pretty much happens, and this pit in the ground opens up, and it's like, if you want to live, go in this dungeon. And he goes in the dungeon and like Crocs and this cat, and it's like, that's the whole story. My friend does a better job at explaining that, but I also don't know much about it. But it's essentially like D&D. Like, he has to go through like each level, and there's achievements and monsters and loot, and I've heard that the audiobook is like the best way to listen, so I'm probably gonna get it. But I did get them for free, the first 3 books, off of the ARC site, because they were doing some kind of promotion where like for 24 hours only you could get like the first 3 copies of it for free. So I do have them as an ebook. I've just heard that the audiobook is like the best way to read them. So I don't know. I'm really excited. So those are the 8 books that I'm actually reading for Magical Readathon. Now into the new releases I have. I have 7, I believe. I don't know the dates that they're coming out, so just Google them if you're interested. I'm just going to tell you what ones are coming out in September and what they're about, and then if you're interested, you can go figure out what day they're coming out, and then go buy the book if you want. The first one that I have noted is A Steeping of Blood, which is the second book in the Tempest of Tea duology. And the Tempest of Tea duology is about, like, an orphan girl who has a crew who gets tangled up in, like, a heist with vampires. And it's giving, like, Six of Crows energy. But it also, like, they own a tea shop. So it's like a tea shop during the day, but, like, a vampire hangout during the nighttime. So it's, like, kind of like, honestly, the best of all worlds. You get the heist, you get the vampire, you get the tea shop. Like, I thought it was perfect. I really loved book 1. I gave it 5 stars. It's one of my favorite books of 2024. And it was so, so good. It was, like, one of my highly anticipated releases. I ended up loving it. And now the second book is finally coming out. I think it got delayed. I think it was supposed to come out a lot sooner than this. And it got delayed. That's okay, Queen. You take as long as you need it. I'm very, very excited. And I think the character is very badass. And I think there is kind of like the romance is hopefully going to unfold in a way that I like in this book, because I feel like there was trying to set up a love triangle, but I don't think the characters realized they were in a love triangle. It was just giving love triangle energy for no reason. So I think I'll really like it, and hopefully I like it as much as I did the first one. Next new release I have noted is, I don't actually know how to say it, Spanish, Espiritu by Aiden Thomas. I probably just absolutely slaughtered that. But it is the second book in the Cemetery Boys series, which I also really, really freaking loved. So if you don't know what the Cemetery Boys is about, that, like, the main character is trans, but he's not really fitting into anyone. He's not really fitting into his family once he's transitioned. They're not really accepting him or, like, understanding where he's coming from with his identity. So in a way to try to prove himself, he summons his cousin's ghost in an attempt to help him cross to the afterlife. But things get really complicated when he accidentally summons the high school resident's bad boy, Julian, and Julian won't go into death quietly, so they have to, like, work together to get the cousin ghost to cross over. And now the ghosts and the main character are, like, spending a lot of time together, and then it's gonna be harder to let go than they think. and I think they're pretty much gonna fall in love because of course they're going to. It's a freaking fantasy romance, but Cemetery Boys is like a ghost story that has like magic and paranormal, but it's also about like accepting yourself and knowing who you are as a yourself, like knowing who you are as a person. And we have waited like 5 years for this sequel, which I have no problem with because the author is amazing. So I'm sure they wanted to just take their time with this and make sure it was exactly what we wanted and the best book that they could give out. So the second book is, I think, following them, like probably like I can't say much. It's just following what I just said. Like it's following those main characters still. I would really recommend. And then the third new release I have coming out is Burning Daylight by Emily McIntyre. And this is their contemporary romance of like Romeo and Juliet retelling, and it's like their new series. I haven't really followed a lot about what this one might be about, so I'm really not sure, but I know for a fact that it's Romeo and Juliet retelling. And I think it's going to be really hot and dark and sexy, I hope. Like, it's definitely like we all know what Romeo and Juliet is. Like, it's going to be that forbidden romance vibe, and I think it'll be really good, but I would check trigger warnings because some of their books gets a little bit dark. The fourth new release I have coming out is Every Step She Takes by Alison Cochrane. This is their next contemporary romance they've put out. This is my favorite author, and I love them. This is my favorite romance author, and I've been waiting for their next release, and we're finally getting it. This is like, it's obviously a sapphic romance because most of their books are sapphic romances, but I'm pretty sure this is like an older woman falling in love with a younger woman. I think like the main character is like 35, and I think the other main character might be 20. Let me read and see. So Every Step She Takes is going to be following two women who meet on the plane, I believe, and they're going to be on a European adventure together, and they're both queer. It's going to be a sapphic romance, but I think that the one character is going to help the other one with their sexuality because they're like going on this tour about self-identity and self-acceptance, and I think that they're going to help each other, and then I think they're going to have to decide if they're going to stay together after the tour ends or if they're going to go their separate ways, and it should be really cute and really, really funny. I think it's mostly the point of this one is like late bloomers who don't realize that they're gay until much later in their life. Like the main character is like 35 and just like realized that she was into women. So I love the concept of like, because sometimes we always hear like, oh, I knew I was gay since I was 8 years old, whatever. But it's also very possible to like not really know or like come to terms with the fact that you're LGBTQI until much later into your life. So I think this is a beautiful concept that I'm glad is going to get explored in a romance book. I don't think I've ever really read a romance book about an older woman coming to terms with her sexuality like this before. So I think it'll be really funny, but really hopeful, and probably will make me cry, as Alison Cochrane does. The fifth new release I have is Thief of Night by Holly Black. The problem is I don't remember the first book at all. Okay, this was Holly Black's adult fantasy debut with like a modern dark fantasy of shadowy thieves and secret societies. That is similar to like the Ninth House, the Night Circus, those kinds of books. Oh, okay, I'm remembering. The main character is a con artist who works as a bartender and gets herself all wrapped up with like her past, and she has to like figure out like what's happening and how she's gonna survive it, because it's like secrets and murder and thieves and merciless billionaires. And I remember thinking that like it was a lot of bad people. Like when I remember this book, I was like, it's like a very seductive underworld that she's gonna be wrapped up into. And I think the second book is probably gonna be very good, but I might have to reread the first book to get, or maybe the second book when I start it will like jog my memory. And then the last two books that I have coming out are actually both novellas and two different series that I just finished reading. So the first novella is Holly in the Belladonna series. This is a holiday novella following the two main characters in Wisteria. You need to read Wisteria before you can read this one so that you can get the full scope of their relationship and everything they've gone through, because I think it's supposed to be like a wrap up of their story, because it does wrap them up in the third book, but I feel like a lot of people were left like, oh my god, we want more, and I think this is their way of giving us more of that couple. So I'd highly recommend reading all three books of the Belladonna series before you jumped into this one. And then the second novella is actually Fearful in the Powerless series by Lauren Robert. and everyone has been talking about this one. It's like supposed to be from Kit's POV, but also I saw on TikTok that it actually adds a new character named Mora, and I have my suspicions about who Mora might be. I won't I won't tell you because I don't want to spoil it, but it's just following Kit and what's like from his point of view of like the events that led up to the big shit show of book 3. I literally can't say too much because there's so many spoilers that I'm like tiptoeing around. But both of those are pretty much giving us like extras to the stories that have already finished. Those are gonna be so quick to read. Like I have one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Literally, I have 7 books that are not even 300 pages on this TBR. So I'm gonna be able to get through these books hopefully very, very fast. And that is my TBR for September. So those are the 15 books that I will be reading in September, and I cannot wait to get through these so I can tell you all about them. Because some of these I think are gonna be really, really freaking good. Some of these I've been waiting so long on. Like, I've been waiting 5 years for the Cemetery Boys sequel. Most of these are on my 25 and 2025 lists because so many of them are coming out this month. Like, I'm shooketh by how many books are coming out in just 1 month that I'm interested in. But it's like September's gonna be really busy with like Magical Readathon and these new releases. But then after that, since I don't have very many new releases, it's gonna be a lot more freeing. And I'll be able to pick books a lot more like outside of what I have been able to do. Because like I have barely any new releases coming out. Like I think maybe I have 1 a month. So hopefully I'm able to do some fun TBR videos after this that are not like readathon based. Not that readathons aren't great. Readathons are amazing. I love them. But it'll be nice to be able to take a break from a readathon for October and November because I do a Christmas one in December. But it'll be nice to do like a non-readathon 2-month period so I can read whatever I want and it'll be great. And I'm really excited for a lot of these. And then in October I have Friday picking my TBR and he's already sent me the books and man oh man, do some of them look like they're gonna rock me. His goal was to give me all the emotions and I think he will be. So yeah, this is my Magical Readathon TBR and my character. I hope that you've enjoyed watching and getting to know my character, and I hope that you are excited about Magical Readathon if you're going to be participating. Feel free to let me know what your calling is, what your guild is, what you might be reading, if you're going to be reading in these books, if we got the same books, we got the same prompts. You can take these recommendations if you need them. I want to talk all things Magical Readathon with you guys. I'm going to be doing like a Magical Readathon vlog along as well as a annotate with me for those 3 books that I have physically, and it will be really fun. So lots of like read with me videos are coming your way. It's gonna be so fun. But I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.